gentlemen, it is Richard Holiday, and you are watching Chop City Wrestling.
Hey, this is the Master of the Worm, Scotty Too Hotty. We're here in Herman, Maine with Ryan at Chop City Wrestling. Keep watching, because this guy is too cool.
Hey everybody, how you doing? It's two-time Hall of Famer Devon W. And I'm with my main man Ryan here, and we're raising money for Honest Cure. So you have to chop them in order to get that money in donation. And I'm not going to chop him, I'm going to take it. He's a man of his word. And right now, I just want you to know that you need to make sure that you can donate to Honest Cure. It's a great cause, and Devon said so. Because if not, I promise you, I'll put your ass through a table. Now, can you testify to that? Woo! Yeah.
What is up, Chop City Wrestling? I hope you guys enjoyed the first WrestleMania review. We are here to do WrestleMania 2 today. So if you have not watched the first one, basically what I'm hoping to do between now and WrestleMania 40 is watch all the WrestleManias, do a little review on each one, kind of give you my thoughts, my opinions, so on and so forth. So if you have not watched that first one, please go ahead, watch the video, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. We are at over 1,100 subscribers now, so thank you to everyone that has been subscribing so far and watching the videos. This is all for a great cause, all for Connor's Cure. So thank you for that, guys. And without ado, WrestleMania 2. So WrestleMania 2 was live from 3 different locations. This was something that had never been done before. As far as I know, it's never been done since. They did it in 3 different locations. So each location, they had 4 matches. The rest of the show, you basically watched on a screen in the arena. So it was live from the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum, the Rosemont Horizon, and the Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena. Another interesting fact about this WrestleMania was it was the only one that had ever been done on a Monday. For whatever reason, they decided to do this WrestleMania on a Monday instead of the Sunday that we normally saw for years and years and years. And now we have Saturday and Sunday for WrestleMania shows. But this one was done on a Monday. Ray Charles starts out by singing the national anthem much, much better than the year before, where they had one of the announcers do it. You know, you can kind of see that they've started to pick up the production notes and stuff of that nature when it comes to the WrestleMania show compared to the first one. The first one was a test product, basically. And now that they've proved the concept, they've started to improve on it. So they do have Ray Charles singing the national anthem, very good national anthem. Match number 1 was Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff versus Magnificent Morocco with Mr. Fuji. It's interesting to see here because if you remember WrestleMania 1, you remember that Paul Orndorff was in the tag team match with Roddy Piper against Hogan and Mr. T. So something that we see nowadays is, if you're not in that last match, you want to be in the first match. Those are the 2 setters, basically. You have the first match that's sets the pace, sets the mood for the night, and then you have the last match, which everyone wants to be the main event, obviously. You kind of see that a little bit here, that they're putting someone that they had in the main event of WrestleMania 1 at the opening contest of WrestleMania 2. So you have Paul Orndorff versus Magnificent Morocco here. Both men start off with action right off the bat, each other giving body slams back and forth. Orndorff was in the main event last year, like I said. Both men eventually do end on the outside of the ring, and we hear the ref call for the bell. This seemed to be a little bit of confusion here. I don't know if it was meant to happen or if it was a mistake, if the ref counted too fast. But basically, he counted a 10 count. And the match was decided basically as a double countout. I don't know if that was supposed to happen, honestly, because if you watch the match, it seems like it happens very, very quickly, and everyone is confused. Paul Orndorff is standing in the ring wondering what is going on. The announcers sound confused. The fans start chanting that this is bullshit. Everyone seems confused of what is happening during this match, basically, because it seemed to happen very quick. They were on the outside of the ring. They were slamming each other into the posts a little bit, beating each other up, and then the match was over. So I don't know, honestly, if that was the call in the match or if the ref just counted too quick, if it was a botch, what exactly happened there. But either way, that's what happens with the match. It's a double count out. Both men lose. It started off potentially as a good match, but because of that, I had to give it 2.5 stars out of 10. If you remember from my first WrestleMania review, I'm going to be doing reviews at the end of every match out of 10 stars. Don't worry, I will not be Dave Meltzer. I'm not going to be picking certain people and giving them certain reviews just because of who they are. I'm going to give fair, honest reviews in my opinion, because that's what this is. This review it's all about my opinion, basically. And I'm hoping you guys like my opinion. I'm hoping you guys like my reviews, but 2.5 stars out of 10, just because it was a very short match, and what could have been ended up not being anything special. Match number 2, we have the Intercontinental Championship match. So what they did here, instead of kind of going back and forth where, they do one match at one venue and one match at another venue, so on and so forth, they did 4 matches in a row at each venue, basically. So you'll see some matches that normally probably would have been higher up on the card, like this match, for instance. Normally would have been higher up on the card, but with the way that they're doing the matches, the way that they're doing different venues, you're seeing matches lower on the card than would have normally happened. So match number 2, we got the Intercontinental Championship match. We have George the Animal Steel versus Macho Man Randy Savage with Elizabeth. Match starts with Macho Man kind of running out of the ring multiple times, trying to get in his head a little bit, maybe acting a little bit scared of George the Animal Steel. Animal gets a hold of Macho Man finally and bites his leg. This is something you've seen multiple times throughout the match. George the Animal Steel biting the turnbuckle, biting Randy Macho Man Savage, stuff of that nature. And this was something, going back, that I hadn't seen a whole lot of these matches. It's been a very long time since I've watched a lot of these matches, so it was interesting to see exactly what happened. Wrestlers that I hadn't seen in a while, so on and so forth. What exactly about it did you think was ass? I mean, I don't want to spoil my rating yet, because at the end I give a final star rating of the entire pay-per-view. I wouldn't say it was amazing. I wouldn't say it was terrible. It was much better than number 1, in my opinion. But I wouldn't necessarily say it was ass, per se. So, yeah, George the Animal Steel's biting Macho Man Savage. Then you see that he starts getting distracted by Miss Elizabeth. Or Elizabeth in this case. I guess she technically wasn't Miss Elizabeth. So he's getting distracted by her a lot. She's a good-looking girl, so on and so forth, getting distracted by her. Macho Man ends up with the crossbody off the top for a 2 count. Macho Man is then hits George the Animal Steel with a bouquet of flowers. The animal keeps biting him and getting distracted by Miss Elizabeth. That's basically the premise of the match, honestly. He was biting Macho Man. He was getting distracted by Miss Elizabeth. Finally, then you see Macho Man hit a top elbow off the top rope. His patented move only gets 2 count. And this is one of the things that I was surprised to start seeing. You're starting to see false finishes. The first WrestleMania you were seeing, they hit their finishing move, match over. Now you're seeing false finishes because Macho Man normally he hits that elbow off the top rope, match is over. We see here that did not happen. He hits the top rope, elbow drop off the top rope, only gets 2 count. Macho Man at the end finally hits an illegal pin with both of his feet on the second rope, gets the 3 count. All in all, it was a pretty good heel versus face match. You had George the Animal Steel as the face, Macho Man as the heel. Not the most amazing in-ring action, though. Like I said, a lot of just distraction, running out of the ring, biting Macho Man, biting the turnbuckle, so on and so forth. I'd give it 5 stars out of 10, though. It was definitely a good match for WrestleMania 2 compared to WrestleMania 1. I believe we only had one match, in my opinion, that was 5 stars or more. So this was definitely a good match compared to that. And it's a basis for what we were going to see later on in the show, in my opinion. It wasn't anything amazing, but it was definitely a solid match. Match number 3, we have Jake the Snake Roberts versus George Wells. I'll be honest, I had no clue who the hell George Wells was. I've never heard of the guy in my life. He starts out the match getting no entrance at all. Doesn't seem to phase him, though, as he goes straight at Roberts with back body drop and punches. Evidently, George Wells was a former Canadian football star. I've never heard of him as a wrestler personally, but I was surprised by him. He definitely showed me some in-ring work that had potential. And I'm hoping as I continue to watch some of these WrestleManias that maybe I see him a little bit more, because he definitely showed me some potential in this match. Wells was in control for most of the match till he got a thumb in the eye by Jake. Jake then hits the DDT and gets the 3 count. Following the match, Jake gets his patented snake, wraps it around George Wells, and that's that. All in all, it was a pretty uneventful match, honestly. There definitely was some spots that surprised me, because going into it, I thought George Wells was going to get destroyed. Everyone's heard of Jake the Snake Roberts, obviously. No one had really heard of George Wells, at least I haven't. Outside of maybe Canadian football, I guess. But he definitely did surprise me with some of his moves in the match, some of the pace, so on and so forth. All in all, I'd give it 3.25 stars out of 10. Wasn't amazing, wasn't terrible. Definitely it led for some improvement down the road from George Wells. And they kept on saying that Jake the Snake Roberts at that point was undefeated. So if I had to guess, this was probably early on in Jake the Snake Roberts' career. And, we saw what he became eventually. Unfortunately, never became a champion, but definitely had some great matches down the road. Made some stars, Stone Cold Steve Austin, so on and so forth. Match number 4 was a boxing match. Personally, this match just didn't do much for me. It was Mr. T versus Roddy Piper. They had been kind of beefing since the last WrestleMania, and so they decided to have a boxing match for some reason. I couldn't tell, honestly, if this match was actually happening, like if it was an actual boxing match or if it was scripted. Kind of hard to tell, honestly. All in all, it didn't do a whole lot for me. Piper started the first match was kind of back and forth round. Sorry, it was kind of back and forth. Nothing really special. Each man, kind of hitting some punches, dodging some punches, so on and so forth. Second round, Piper seemed to control it absolutely, completely. Ended up knocking down Mr. T at one point, and just seemed to be controlling the entire match. Round 3, though, which is why I'm just not sure if this was an actual match, if this was scripted, what exactly this match was. I think the ending may have been scripted. What happened in between, maybe. I don't know, honestly, though. But round number 3, Mr. T controls it all. He's making Piper look like a fool. Piper doesn't fall down, but Mr. T is definitely controlling round 3 after getting knocked down and looking completely tired in round 2. Round number 4 is basically just them standing there hitting each other with haymakers left and right. Both of them arms down, not defending each other at all. They're just swinging for the fucking fences, hitting each other in the face left and right. Eventually, the ref gets knocked down when Piper hits him by accident, and then Piper body slams Mr. T and gets disqualified. Yeah, it just, all in all, end of the day, if it was an actual match, it wasn't anything special to me. If these people were actually boxing, I'd give 4.25 stars out of 10. So I don't know exactly how to grade this match, just because I don't know if it was real or if it was fake. And without really knowing that, it's kind of hard to judge this match as a boxing match. To me, boxing has no reason being on a WrestleMania card, but I understand that back then they were trying to get more mainstream. They were trying to get more eyes on the product. So anything that they could do to get as many eyes as possible onto the product, they were doing, which is why you saw throughout WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 2, they were bringing a lot of celebrities in as well, just to try to get as many eyes on the product as possible for the event. So at this point, we go to the second arena now because, like I said, we have 4 matches at each arena. We start off match number 5, Women's Championship. The Fabulous Moolah, who is the champion, versus Velvet McIntyre. This match was pointless, honestly. You could have just not kept it on the card at all because there was no reason for it at all. McIntyre basically starts off the match trying to go for a splash off the top rope. Fabulous Moolah steps to the side and then pins her basically for the 3 count. Absolutely ridiculous match, pointless match, which disappointed me because, don't get me wrong, back then I understand what women's wrestling was. It was nothing special. Sorry, not to sound controversial, but it wasn't. But WrestleMania 1, if you remember, my number 1 match of the night was the women's title match. So going into this, I was maybe expecting a little bit more. But this was terrible. This was a pointless match. No reason at all for this match. I gave it 0.5 stars out of 10. Just because I don't really want to give a 0 rating for any match. At the end of the day, they did something. But this was a absolutely terrible match. Do not watch this match if you're a women's wrestling fan, because it will set you back 50 fucking years. Match number 6, we had a flag match. Once again, kind of a pointless match in my opinion. We had Corporal Kirshner versus Nikolai Volkov with Classy Freddie Blassie. Volkov asked to play his national anthem, and the crowd starts booing like crazy. The crowd is chanting USA, really kind of getting behind Volkov as a heel. Volkov tosses Kirshner to the outside of the ring and hits him multiple times off the ring post. We kind of have some back and forth going on, so on and so forth. At that point, we have a ref bump, and Blassie tries to throw his cane into Volkov, which is kind of a throwback to WrestleMania 1, which is how they won the tag team titles. This one, though, Krishner catches it and hits Volkov over the head with the cane instead for the 3 count. It was a very quick match, and that's something that we kind of saw in the first WrestleMania. Very quick matches, not very long at all. Each match maybe getting 5-10 minutes. It could have been something good because, clearly there was a rivalry between those two countries. All the fans in the stands hated Volkov. All the fans in the stands obviously loved Kirshner. But it just didn't turn into anything much at all. I'd give it 1.5 stars out of 10. Another match that you can skip absolutely if you were watching this WrestleMania. Match number 7, we got the 20-man Battle Royal, which was kind of NFL stars versus wrestlers. At end of the day, Battle Royals kind of hard to judge and kind of give a rating on because not a lot happens in Battle Royals. You did have the added element. Like I said earlier, they were trying to bring in as many celebrities, NFL players, so on and so forth, into these first couple of WrestleManias to try to get the fan base in, try to get the outside crowd into these matches and interested in these matches. And that's what you saw here with the NFL players in the matches, which was kind of cool to see them do it. And some of them, did definitely show some in-ring ability. But at the end of the day, they're NFL players. They don't belong in the wrestling ring. No offense. So yeah, it wasn't anything special at all. It ends up with Andre the Giant eliminating the Hart Foundation for the win. When you have Andre and the Giant in a battle royal, you kind of know how that match is going to go at the end of the day. And that's kind of what happened here, in my opinion. I give it 3 stars out of 10. Wasn't terrible. Wasn't amazing. But another match that you could probably skip over if you're watching this pay-per-view. So, so far the first 3 matches of this portion of the pay-per-view, which I believe this was the Rosemont Horizon version portion of the pay-per-view, been absolutely terrible, in my opinion. Not worth watching at all. And I would have been pissed as a fan that I paid money for a ticket to watch those 3 matches. Because you got to remember, they're only watching 4 matches live. The rest of the matches they're watching up on a screen, like basically a movie theater. So far, 3 out of the 4 matches they actually get to see live have been absolutely trash, in my opinion. Till the 8th match. 8th match, we have the Tag Team Championship match. We have the British Bulldogs, which is Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid at that point in time, with Lou Albano, versus the champs at that point, Greg the Hammer Valentine and Brutus Beefcake, who later turned obviously into Brutus the Barber Beefcake, with Johnny Valiant. And you start off this match, Davey Boy Smith is using his speed and strength to control the match, and Greg the Hammer Valentine rolls out to give himself a little more time. And right off the bat, you kind of have an idea, a thought, a vision of how this match is going to go, how this match could turn out to be. And that's kind of what we see, as the match continues. Greg the Hammer Valentine tags in Bruce the Barber Beefcake. Davey Boy presses him and tags in Dynamite Kid. So now we finally got Dynamite Kid into this match. The British Bulldogs, throughout the match are using very quick tags, back and forth, getting each other in, great tag team action, controlling the match using quick tags, their speed, all that good stuff. Multiple 2 counts throughout the match, where they'll do a move and it'll be a kick out of 2. So multiple near finishes. Exactly what you want to see in a great match of this caliber. Davey Boy hits the power slam, which is one of his finishing moves. Only gets a 2 count. Eventually, Davey Boy Smith does get the pin on Greg Valentine, and the British Bulldogs become new champions. This was the first match that I saw that they actually gave them time to have a real match. You know, throughout these first 2 WrestleManias, that's been one of the things that I've not liked, is that even in these good matches, they're just not giving them time to marinate. They're not giving them time to develop the match. This match, they actually did that. They went about 15 minutes, which for back then, now that's not much. The main event will go 25, 30 minutes. But back then, 15 minutes was a long time. And they gave them about 15 minutes. And, it definitely, it showed. It showed in a much, much better product with this match. And all in all, I have to say that this match gets 6.75 stars out of 10. If you're a fan of tag team wrestling, especially back on in the early days, this is a match that I highly, highly suggest that you watch. Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid versus Greg the Hammer Valentine and Bruce Beefcake. WrestleMania 2, I highly suggest, as a fan of tag team wrestling, you watch this match because it shows you glimpses of what WrestleManias could be down the road and what tag team wrestling could be down the road. So, at this point in time, we go to the third arena, which is the Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena. And we have the final 4 matches. So match number 9, we have Ricky Steamboat versus Hercules Hernandez. If you remember, Steamboat had a very early match early on in WrestleMania 1. Kind of shows you how he's developed a little bit. Hernandez starts off the match getting quick, but then Steamboat takes control. Hernandez hits it with a vicious clothesline and a big boot, which this was a move that definitely impressed me because you just didn't see these type of clotheslines and big boots back in the day. Hercules Hernandez definitely had a good moveset. He starts getting kind of cocky, though, flexing, going for weak pins, just not really putting his all into the match. Hercules goes to the top rope, and Steamboat is able to get his knees up. With this momentum, Steamboat then goes to the top rope, hits crossbody for the 3 count. I gotta say, the crossbody has to be one of the weakest finishers, maybe in all of wrestling. It's not a good finisher. It's a good in-between move, but there has to be something else, because at the end of the day, Ricky the Steamboat was not a big dude. We're not talking about the Big Show coming off the top rope or Vader coming off the top rope. We're talking about a guy who is maybe 220 pounds tops. So he wasn't a big dude. So I think that is a terrible finisher. I know he used it pretty much throughout his entire career, but I just do not think that is a good finisher. All in all, I would say, though, this was a 5-star match. It was kind of middle of the road. I've seen better. I've seen worse. Worth watching, though. You can definitely see how they're starting to build up kind of this second half more as the matches kind of start, going on further in the card. Match 10, we have Adrian Adonis with Jimmy Hart versus Uncle Elmer, whoever the fuck that is. Adrian Adonis, he's kind of a pretty boy. Elmer hits him with a cheap shot, and Iris whips him into the corner. Adonis rolls out of the ring. Elmer controls the whole first half of the match. Not anything great, though, honestly. Elmer goes for the leg drop, and Adonis rolls out of the ring again. Ellis then climbs to the top rope, hits the flying headbutt and gets a 3 count. Wasn't anything amazing at all, honestly. Pretty sloppy in my opinion. Just wasn't a great match. And after seeing these last 2 matches, 6.5 stars, 5 stars, I definitely expected a little bit more of this match. And it seemed like they were building you up, and then just dropped right down again. So we get 1.5 stars out of 10. Second worst match of the night, in my opinion. Match 11, we have the Funk Brothers with Jimmy Hart once again versus the Junkyard Dog and Tito Santana. Junkyard Dog hits Terry Funk's head on the turnbuckle multiple times, and you can tell that Terry is a great seller. He's really selling that he's getting his head slammed into this turnbuckle, and it shows why he became one of the better wrestlers, in my opinion, of all time. Now, granted, I am a huge deathmatch fan, which Terry Funk had a lot to do with. But in my opinion, he's definitely one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, RIP. Terry Funk rolls out of the ring, ref starts the 10 count. Eventually, Tito Santana goes for the pinfall, but gets broken up by Terry Funk. After a lot of back and forth, hard-hitting action, you're seeing this throughout the match, kind of both teams going back and forth, both very, very hard-hitting. Terry Funk eventually then tries to use Jimmy Hart's megaphone, his classic megaphone, as a weapon to get the 3 count. The crowd is yelling bullshit. So yeah, that's what happens. The Funks end up winning this match. The crowd is not happy at all due to the fact that the weapon was used in the match. And yeah, I would say all in all, it picked back up. You saw that great tag team match. You saw the other match. You had a shitty match with Adonis, and now we're picking it back up again. I would give this 5.5 stars out of 10. And definitely another good match to watch, especially if you are a fan of Terry Funk. You kind of see glimpses of what he ends up becoming. So definitely worth watching. Match 12 in the main event of the match, or of the show. We have Hulk Hogan versus King Kong Bundy with Bobby the Brain Heenan in a steel cage. Hulk Hogan is champion going into this match. And Hogan starts off fast right away with lefts and rights, chops, just kind of beating the heck out of him, honestly. Bundy tries to get to the door, but he hasn't weakened Hogan enough, and he is stopped. And something that kind of surprised me in this match was I never really thought Hogan as a chopper. You watch his further matches and you just don't really see him as someone that can chop the living shit out of someone. He surprised me a little bit in this match that he actually did have some good shots against King Kong Bundy. King Kong Bundy gets thrown headfirst in the cage and is then busted open. The first time in a while that we start to see blood actually in a wrestling match, in a WrestleMania match. And that excited me because that's something that I think that we need to see more nowadays in wrestling. We just don't see enough blood, except for deathmatch wrestling, obviously. But when it comes to actual, WWE shows, so on and so forth, we just don't see enough. And not that it has to be in every single match, because it doesn't, but we definitely need to see some because it helps build on some matches, honestly. And we don't see that much. So I was happy to see that. Hogan starts punching him in the forehead, kind of ramming him into the side of the cage to get that blood pouring more. At this point, King Kong Bundy is really busted open. just good sight to see. Hogan goes for the body slam, but is not able to pick up King Kong Bundy. Hogan then eventually hits a leg drop after he finally gets a body slam and starts climbing the cage. Bobby the Brain Heenan tries to stop him, kind of, not allow him to get out at that point in time. King Kong Bundy then tries to get through the side door. Hogan finally does land on the ground and retains his title. A few good moments in this match. At the end of the day, Hogan matches are just not going to be anything that are going to be amazing, unfortunately. He was definitely a great persona, but when it came to entering action, Hogan just wasn't it. And, that's kind of what you see in this match. You see some great spots, but just nothing amazing. At the end of the day, I'd give it 4.25 stars out of 10. So, that's WrestleMania 2. All in all, I definitely saw the improvement from WrestleMania 1. WrestleMania 1, I just was not a huge fan of at all. The matches were way too short, and frankly, just not very good. But WrestleMania 2, you definitely saw some improvements from WrestleMania 1. And so, all in all, I would say I'd give this pay-per-view 5.25 stars out of 10. It's definitely not perfect, but you can see improvements from 1 to 2. The one downside, or one or two downsides that I would say is I do think they lean too heavily on celebrities. You had the NFL stars at one point in time. You had Ozzy Alby, sorry, not Ozzy Alby, Ozzy Osbourne come out. Yeah, and you just had a bunch of other celebrities come out. The first one you had Cyndi Lauper, a couple other celebrities come out. So I just feel you're relying too heavily on celebrities for your matches and stuff of that nature. So that was definitely one of the downsides. And then you did still have some of the shorter matches. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't love the 4 or 5 hour WrestleManias. Or nowadays we have the 8-hour WrestleManias. So I don't love those, but I do think 8-9 matches, good time between each one, give each one 15, 20, 30 minutes, and kind of build the matches, so on and so forth. I think that's the best way to do that, and I think we'll continue to see that as I watch more and more WrestleManias. But yeah, this one's definitely worth watching in my opinion. I don't think it's ass like some people said. I don't think it was amazing though. Definitely worth watching though. And yeah, all in all, I would give that 5.25 stars out of 10. So that is WrestleMania 2. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I hope you guys, enjoyed the first one if you watched that one. And I'm gonna continue to try to do these as much as possible. They definitely do take a little bit of time. Each WrestleMania takes about 3.5 hours to watch, and then to do the review takes another 45 minutes or so. So they definitely do take a little bit of time. But I'm certainly gonna try my best to do as many of these as possible. So please, guys, continue to watch these reviews. And continue to watch the other videos that I'm posting videos daily of matches, so on and so forth. I got a lot of big things coming up. We got Limitless Wrestling in about a week and a half. We have GCW at the beginning of March. We have ICW middle of March, WrestleMania week beginning of April, which something big will happen. I just can't announce it yet because it hasn't been announced by the person. So I don't want to step on toes or anything like that, but something big is going to happen in WrestleMania week. So please be on the lookout for that, guys. And, I have no one else to thank except for you guys. You guys have made this channel possible. You guys have, made everything that I'm doing on this channel possible. So thank you for that. Continue to watch the videos, continue to subscribe, continue to hit the notification bells. That way you guys know when I'm going live or posting other content. Continue to share the videos, let people know about the cause that we're doing these videos for. And with that, let's hit that outro.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Richard Holiday, and you are watching Chop City Wrestling.
Hey, this is the Master of the Worm, Scotty Huddy. We're here in Herman, Maine with Ryan at Chop City Wrestling. Keep watching because this guy is too cool.
Hey everybody, how you doing? It's two-time Hall of Famer Devon W. And I'm with my main man Ryan here, and we're raising money for Honest Pure. So you have to chop him in order to get that money in donation. And I'm not going to chop him, I'm going to take it. He's a man of his word. And right now, I just want you to know that you need to make sure that you donate to Honest Pure. It's a great cause, and Devon said so. Because if not, I promise you, I'll put your ass through a table. Now, can you testify to that? Woo! Yeah. Woo!